Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Essence Tiara here. By the title of this video, you can pretty much already tell what it's going to be about. It's actually one of my very first videos of me, I don't know, just kind of being vulnerable and letting you guys know my spiritual background and pretty much just kind of where I come from and why I am the way I am and how I was raised. Also, if you hear the water going in the background, that's just Kyle. He's in the shower right now, so don't mind that. It's actually been on my heart to make a video like this for a very long time now, but I really just kind of was hesitant. I didn't really know how to say how I felt or really what to say. Well, I always knew what to say, but I just didn't know how people would take how I feel or where I come from. I've just kind of always been hesitant to get on camera and pretty much be vulnerable with you guys and kind of just share my spiritual journey and pretty much my testimony. But I feel like I'm in a space where I'm comfortable enough to talk about it now. I truly believe what I'm saying, and also I just think that there's a lot of people that need to really hear this. Not only that, on a daily basis, pretty much I'm always giving people advice, or I'm always speaking God into people's lives, or I don't know, prophesizing over their lives, praying for other people. So I figure, why not, you know, do it for everyone and just kind of pretty much make it public instead of more private messages. So I don't want to make this introduction way too long. I'm just going to be telling you guys my testimony, why I chose to find God at the time that I did, some of the things that I kind of have been through that have led me to this point in my life, and I don't know, just pretty much my spiritual journey. I hope that this video is helpful for you guys, and yeah, I hope you like it. So I want to start off by going all the way back to little old E, pretty much when I was a little girl, just kind of how we grew up. As a kid, I was never really forced to go to church or to be a part of anything that was God-like. Obviously, I knew that my family believed in the Lord. They believed in God and Jesus, but we weren't really big on it. We weren't really strong on it. I know a lot of people tell me all the time, or I hear stories about other people when they're saying like, my mama made sure we went to church, or my grandma was always made us go to church on Sunday mornings, and we had to get up early and go to Bible study and kids church and just all these different things that a lot of people say that they've experienced. My lifestyle was a little bit different as a kid. We never really went to church. We didn't really listen to gospel music. There weren't many Bibles or anything like that in the house. Now, it was never really said, but it was always just understood that we believed in God, we believe in heaven and hell, but it was just never like I was in church. I wasn't forced to be in church, and I just kind of grew up that way, and that was as a little girl. Now, when I got about, it's kind of hard to remember, but I think maybe when I got about in middle school, so probably like I was around 11, 12 years old, I started realizing really like who God was and what God was. Now, I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, we would go every now and then. So like, we were that family. Y'all know how in church now when you get mad because the church is like packed out on Christmas, so nobody has anywhere to sit. We were that family. Like, if it was Christmas or Easter or sometimes New Year's, Thanksgiving, really those big holiday seasons, we would go to church, or maybe just some Sundays, like, I don't know, it would be like once every blue moon we would just go to church. So that's why it was always clear to me that I was a Christian. My family were Christians, you know, we believed in God. So I always knew that point, but I didn't really know the story about God and how Jesus was his son and how Jesus came here just help save us and bring us closer to God. And yeah, I didn't really know the story. It was like that for a really long time, all throughout my entire like childhood of being a kid. Now, like I was saying, by the time I got about 11 or 12 years old, that's when I started kind of wanting to know who God was on my own. So I would ask my grandmother to go to church with me. So I had found a church that was like near, it's in Atlanta. I think it's Zion Hill. There's a church in Atlanta called Zion Hill, and it's a really nice big church. I remember going there with my grandmother. I don't know why I chose that church, or if it was her idea or my idea or whatever. But I do remember getting dressed up. It would just be me and her. I would always try to invite my entire family. So like I would call my parents or my friends. Like I would just call people and be like, yeah, we're going to church on Sunday. You guys should come. And they wouldn't ever come, but they were really happy that I wanted to find out who God was on my own. And mind you, I was only like 12 years old. So I would get really excited, really just kind of get dressed up. I would put my heels on that my grandma would let me borrow, and me and her would just go to church together. Even then, it was still like every now and then. It was like a few Sundays, just kind of whenever we felt like it. If we didn't wake up too late, or if we didn't have like a really long day on Saturday, then we would get up and go. But it was never like mandatory, like this is something that we are putting into our everyday lives or into our weekly routines. Like it wasn't like that. Once I got in high school, I don't even remember going to church that much at all, honestly. Like we stopped going like the every other Sundays then as well. So yeah, that's kind of how my childhood was. And now looking back on it, I'm kind of ashamed to talk about that, because I feel so connected to him now that it's just like I can't believe that I went really the last like 20 years not really giving that love to him and not finding him or seeking him on my own. I kind of try to give myself slack because I was a kid. I didn't really know much, and my family wasn't really heavy in it. So I'm just glad that I chose to go the path that I chose now that I'm old enough to understand. That was pretty much my childhood. Now once I got about 18, actually it was 18, the point of being 12 to like 18, I didn't have any connection to God or Jesus. Like I didn't much think about it. I felt like everything was going great in my life, although now that I look back, it really wasn't. But in my mind as a kid, everything's great. I got everybody in my life. I got whatever I wanted. So I didn't really feel like I needed to call on God for anything. And that's kind of how I was when I was younger. It was like, you only call on him when you need something. If something's going wrong, then you ask God to forgive you, and maybe it'll go away, like magic or something. That's pretty much how I saw it for so long. When I got 18, I actually went out to college. So at this point, I'm grown, I'm making my own decisions. I got my own car. Well, I didn't have a car yet, but I was just pretty much, in my mind, I was like an adult. So by 18, I just kind of started wanting to make my own decisions for myself. Now, I actually met my fiance when I turned 18, and his story is a little bit different. So like, he grew up in church as a kid. His family was very strong on him being a Christian and just knowing what God, who he is and what he's done for us and what he's going to continue to do. So that was more so his path. And I was so intrigued by the way he really believed in this person, like it almost was just like a big eye-opener, because I had never met anyone who was just so strong on believing something they had never actually seen or could touch or could prove to me, so when I met him, and he would always read scriptures in the Bible. He would go to church. Like when he would go home or visit his family, like they would always pray with each other. His grandparents were very strong about just praying over his life and praying for him, and I would hear them praying with him, and I would see him praying and reading scriptures in the Bible, that I just kind of wanted to know, what is this? Like, just tell me about it, because I really don't know that much about it. I know the small basics, but I don't know how you think that this is going to get you out of a situation. Like, if it's life, it's gonna happen. Like, it's nothing that you can do about it. So, but you're telling me different because you believe in God. So I need to know, what do you mean? And so luckily, he was very willing to help me see what he saw and how he was raised. So it would be times where we would just be sitting down out to eat, and I would ask him questions like, so how do you know God is real? And, well, if I can't touch him, then how do I know he's right here? And where's it say in the Bible that he'll do this? And just kind of asking him all these questions, like, how did he create us? Like, well, science say that they do this, and I would like Google how the body is alive and how we're creating, just find all these like crazy science things on Google that in theory, I guess you can say that they've come up with different ways of how we are here. But when you really think about it and you look at every little detail, it still never really made sense to me. And so because of that small inkling, I always still look back to, there has to be a God, because it's not making sense to me. And I'm the type of person, like, if you tell me something, I need to know. Like, I want like the details. So like, if I ask you a question of how something is created, I need you to tell me that flour and sugar makes this. If you put water and this together, it makes flour. Like, I want to know all of the details. And so when I used to do my own research, and I'm a big like Google guru, YouTube it type of girl. And so if there's something I don't know, I'm gonna like go and research it until I find out exactly what it is, how to do it, how it was created, when it, like, that's just kind of how I am about the smallest little things. So, well, with God, I could never find an article that told me, nothing ever really gave me like the perfect answer for me to be like, okay, I can sleep now knowing that this is how I was created. Because even when I think about the body itself, you could literally put together all of the if you got all of the organs out of our body that we all have from another body, and you laid it on the table and put them all together, you still can't make it come to life. Like, you can't put air into it. You can't make it just get up and be a human being like me and you. You just can't do it. And so for that reason, I always was just kind of like, there has to be God. Like, he has to have done something. Now, I don't know, at 18 I'm like, maybe he didn't do everything, but you know, he's done something. Back to with me and Cal, he would always just let me know what he was taught. And so it made sense to me as well. I just still was in this mindset of like, but I can't touch him, and like, he's not sitting right here on my shoulder like people say he will. And how do you know what heaven is like if you never went? You're still here with me. And so I remember, and I think at this point I might have still been 18, but I remember Cal showing me a scripture in the Bible, and he told me to read it out loud. Just read it. Just read it out loud. Don't read it in your head. Read it out loud like you're talking to God or like you're talking to someone. And I think it was Psalms 23. I think it was Psalms 23. I read it out loud, and I was reading it sitting on his bed. Yeah, actually, I was 18. I might have been a little bit older than 18. I think I might have been like 19 at this point, or 20. One of the two. I'm sitting on his bed, and I'm reading this passage, and mind you now, I'm still at a phase where in my mind, like, everything is great. I got everybody, I got a car, I'm in college, I'm cute, I got all the cutest clothes, all the cutest shoes, and like that's what was important to me. And because I had all those things, I wasn't missing anything, so I didn't want to seek anything more than that. I'm reading this passage, sitting on his bed, and out of nowhere, I just start crying, tears, like, not boo-hooing. So like, I wasn't like, oh my God, like, it wasn't like one of those things where something had happened to me, but I was just like silently crying, but tears were just flowing out of my eyes. And I'm just like, what is this? And so it made me want to read more, and I was just so like in awe that this was happening to me, because this has never happened to me before. But also, I had never really sat down and read the Bible before. I don't know, it just really touched my heart. And from that moment on, and I always say to him, and really to anyone else that I tell this story to, which I don't really tell it often, but even when I think back on it, I really feel like that was God making me feel his presence, letting me know that you don't see me because I don't want you to see me, but I'm here. Like, I am in this room. I can make you cry, although you don't even know why you're crying. You don't even know. I haven't even taken you through anything to be crying about. Like, that is what my body and my mind was feeling like. And so ever since then, I knew that all of these things that I read on Google and everything that I was fighting and fussing with Cal about, and how I was almost like challenging him. Everything he would say to me, I would have something to say back to it, or I would rebuttal him with this and with that, or what I've been told, or and so I feel like he was really in that moment confirming that everything that you read before, everything that you thought or was taught is not true, or there's more to it. And it's me. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm touching you. I'm sitting on this bed right next to you. These words, you don't even know how much these words are gonna mean to you in the future. I was just crying, y'all, like for real, crying harder than, I don't know, like, and I was just like, oh my God, Cal, I don't know why I'm crying right now. And he was like, it's God. I'm telling you, that's why you're crying right now. I didn't do anything to hurt your feelings. You was just happy. We just went and got ice cream. You don't have a reason to be sad or whatever. So that for me was like a really huge eye-opener, and that was my moment. Years go by. Now at this point, I'm starting to go to church more often. We really got to the point where we were going every Sunday, and if we did miss a Sunday, we at least were praying, or we were studying, or we were reading the Bible, or we would watch like YouTube clips of people giving their sermons or preaching, like if we couldn't physically be in the church. But it was our business to make sure that we were giving our time to God, and we were also giving to the church that we were going to, which we was going to church at our university, which was like right on campus pretty much. So even then, I was a believer, but I didn't have a relationship with him. Like, I was afraid to pray out loud. I didn't really read the Bible by myself. Or if I was in church and if the situation didn't really fit around my life, it didn't resonate with me. I would literally think to myself, oh, he ain't talking to me. I don't do that. Oh, nope. Versus, thank you, God, for not allowing me to be in that position. And if I do ever get in that situation that the pastor is currently preaching about, please be there for me. Please get me through it. Or let me pay attention to this, because I can pray for someone else that might be going through this situation that I don't know about. I wasn't in that point in my life. It was just like, oh, thank God I ain't been through that yet. Oh, I can pay my bills. Like, that's kind of how I was thinking. And y'all, this was like 3 years ago. Like, this wasn't even that long ago. I might have been like 21 at that point. So I was still like going through that point of my life. I knew who God was. I believed in him. He had already proven to me he didn't need to do anything more than that. But I wasn't building a relationship with him. I didn't 100% trust him like I do now. And then in 2017, I was 22. A lot of you guys might already know, not sure. I haven't really talked much about my mom on my channel. But in 2017, November 13th, I lost my mother. And so, mind you, I'm 22. And when I was 21, now I just told y'all I knew who God was, but I wasn't as close with him. I didn't have like a full relationship with him like I do now. Then, because everything is still going great, in my eyes. I'm just living my life like it's golden, child. Before my mom passed away, I was going to church. Cal and I had found a church. We'd already moved away, so at this point we were living in Florida, and I had only been in Florida for maybe about 2 months, probably not even a full 2 months, probably like 1 month. And we had found a church that we liked. I think, Cal, had we found a church yet? I don't even think we had gotten that far, y'all, at this point. I think we were just kind of, no, you're right. We hadn't found a church at all. We were watching our old church that we used to go to in Atlanta or in Jonesboro on YouTube. Still, there was that like barrier there. Sometimes I would fall asleep because the thing, it would be like an hour and a half almost. So sometimes we would just be watching church in bed. I would fall asleep. I wasn't actually praying words out of my own mouth. Cal would always lead our prayer. And yeah, knew who God was. Believed in God. Loved him. But, so I don't even want to just say like I loved him. Like I did, but also there was still that like, I didn't talk to him. I didn't trust him when things were going right or when things were going wrong. I was hanging out with my friends. We were just doing whatever we want to do. We would be drinking, staying out late, like we were just doing whatever, and I wasn't giving much thought to what God really wanted. Or even if, you know, I'm not saying that it's not okay to do things with your friends, and, you know, if you want to have wine or whatever, drinks every now and then, that's one thing. But I know for a fact that I wasn't on the path towards him. At 22, my mother passed away, and it was very, very sudden. It was like out of nowhere, you know, just kind of one day she was here, she was great, she was having fun, was fine, and then I can't talk to her again. So that happened to me at only 22, which I was very, very young and young-minded as well at that point. I even remember getting a phone call that my mom was in the hospital, and at this point now in my life, immediately what I would have done was drop down to my knees, and I would have prayed to God, and I would have asked him, even if you do take my mother, take her peacefully, allow her to be with you, let her know how I feel about her. Like, those are the things that I would have prayed for, but I didn't. It didn't come to my mind at all. My immediate thought was, I need to go get to my mother. I can save her. She just needs to hear my voice. It's me, you know. I didn't think about God at all at this point. I mean, I had stopped, because I went and stayed with my grandmother and my dad and stuff for a little bit. I just kind of lost God, really. Still believed in him, but it didn't cross my mind. I wasn't even watching church on Sundays on my phone anymore like I was. My whole focus was just like, my mom is gone. I went through a really, really sad point there, and then I came back to Florida, and I feel like at that point I had started to allow the devil to come in, and so he was really trying to ruin me and like destroy me and take over everything. Like, all of this that God has blessed me with today that I never knew was coming, he was trying to get rid of it, and almost did. It really got to points where I just felt like giving up on myself, and even my fiance was like, luckily he stayed around, but I don't know, he was trying to tear up what we were building together, which our relationship was of God 100%, and I feel like that's why he didn't want that to be a part of my life or a part of my story. All I wanted to do was be out. All I wanted to do was be drunk. I wanted to be numb. I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to talk about anything. If I didn't like something, I didn't want to discuss it. I just wanted my life to be what I wanted it to be. I didn't want to hear about God. I didn't want to go to church. If Kyle would pray, I wouldn't say it to him just because I cared about him, but in my mind I was just thinking, like, you're wasting my time. I want to leave. I don't want to be here. Like, let me out the door. My friends are waiting for me. And he was just placing things in my life that just weren't of God. Like, the devil was coming in like as snakes, and he was camouflaged in alcohol, and he was camouflaged in my friends and in the club, and in guys that were like trying to hit on me. And I was dressing in short, tight clothes. Like, I wasn't respecting myself as a woman, and this lasted for a while, y'all. Like, my entire 23 pretty much. And I felt like God was always there though. Like, he placed Kyle in my life to try to, you know, keep me grounded, or make sure I don't do things that my mind wanted to do, to go as far as I was willing to go. I even got as low as just wanted to feel what my mom felt when she died, or just wanted to be with her. And if that meant me not being on this earth too, I was willing to do whatever it took, you know. And it was just like a really, really dark moment for me, and I just didn't want to be here. I didn't even hear what God was saying to me, or if he came in, I couldn't even see it. All I know is that I just wanted to go with her, and that just meant not being here. And so I think that was like my darkest moment then, because I don't know, I was so in a space of where I I felt like he had betrayed me. I felt like he had allowed me to grow close to him for nothing, pretty much. And I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe that he would take something like that from me. And that was literally the devil making me believe those things. He wanted to be sure that I didn't trust God, that I didn't have a relationship with him. And he was almost there. The light bulb just switched in my, like, it just cut on. It was like really dark, so the light was off and it was just dark. And then one day the light bulb just cut on for me, and I just started wanting different. I started seeing where my life was going. I knew then that something had to change, and it got to the point where I started realizing, you know, I want a different life, and I want to be here on this earth, and that's what my mother would want for me. And I started thinking about what my mom would say to me right now. She would always tell me, you know, don't live the life that I lived. Like, don't be like me, be better than me. Once I lost her, it was like I just started doing all these things that I never really wanted to do. God didn't allow to get me that far. He didn't allow me to fall that back behind, and I'm just so grateful for that, because in my mind I deserved those things, and he didn't think that. I just stopped, you know. I got closer to God. I got closer to Cal, who was of God, who I knew that God had placed in my life. I started listening to him and taking his advice. Me and him just started going back to church, and we started watching church together. I stopped hanging out as much and going out to clubs and doing those things that I was doing. I don't know, I just started enjoying my time with him and with God, and I'm just so grateful for that. And now, man, like, there isn't anything you can tell me to tear me away from God, or the things that I used to think of when I was 18 to come up with reasons of why he couldn't be real. Man, like, I have so many reasons of why he is real, you know. And I really believe that he got me through that entire period of my life, and so many people don't even know that I went through that or had those suicidal thoughts. He's given me so much peace. Like, I can literally think about my mom and not cry anymore. I mean, obviously I have my days, but now when I think of her, it's like happiness. It's happy tears. It's things that I think about of the greatness that she's brought, and how she did create me and my brother, and how we are great, you know. We are excellent. We are of God. We are his children as well. So that is our purpose. And even when I think about my mom, it's like I'm almost grateful that he took her, because this world is not his kingdom. Like, this world is not heaven. And although he does eventually, he wants earth to be his kingdom. That's our point. That's our purpose of being here, is to bring heaven to earth. But this earth is not heaven. So why would I only be sad when I think about my mom not being here anymore? I also think about the things that she was going through that I found out about later on, after she had already passed, that I didn't even know about. She was battling with the devil as well, and I'm just so grateful that God got to her first, you know, that God was able to bring him with her. And even now, like, he shows me that she is with me all the time. I mean, in so many different ways. And I feel like if my mind was so clouded and just so filled with all these negative things that the devil wanted it to be, I wouldn't see those signs of my mom. I wouldn't be able to know that heaven is real, and that she's with him right now, and that she's smiling with him right now. Y'all, like, I don't know, like, that feeling is just something that you can't pay for. And the fact that I know who he is, and I'm able to literally just say, God, I need you. God, come into my life right now. God, please listen to me. I'm calling onto your name. Or just thank him for things that I don't even know are possible yet. For things that I can't even see if I wanted to. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like, you know, if you're watching this video, you're watching this video because you might be going through the exact same thing. And I don't know what point you are in your life. I don't know if you're in the part where back when I was 18 and I didn't know who he was, but I was intrigued by it, or when I got to the point where I didn't know who he was, but I didn't have a relationship, or if you're at a point where you feel like the world is against you and you don't believe, but you still do in a way, or if you're at where I'm at now and you know exactly who he is. Whatever point you are, it's a part of your story, and no one can make you get there but you and God. This video isn't going to make you know exactly who he is, because you have to build your own relationship with him. But I do encourage you to try. I encourage you to pray with him, to read his word, to speak to him. He's your father. Like, talk to him like you would talk to your own dad, you know, or your own parent, or your best friend, someone who you trust, who you love, who you would give your last to, who you know would do the same for you. Talk to him like that, and I promise you, you guys, he will listen to you, he will answer you, he will come to you. And it might not be the moment you get down on your knees, and it might not be exactly when you think the time is right, but God will come in your life at the perfect timing, the most perfect timing. And even the things that I went through, I don't even give the devil credit for anything. I feel like God allowed me, at the entire time when I thought that I was on the devil's side, God had his hand on my shoulder. He was grabbing the back of my hoodie, and he just allowed me to do what I needed to do, because he knew that a year later, 2 years later, that I would know exactly who he is, and that I can give all the glory to him. Because if I never went through any of that stuff, if I never went through anything, I'll be that same girl I was when I was 17, thinking that life is perfect and all I need is a material car and a bag and shoes, and I'm just that girl. But life is so much more than that, and he has shown me that in so many different ways. And I challenge you to seek him. You want to. That's why you're watching this video. So yes, guys, learn who God is. Read your Bible. Even if you just listen to him on YouTube, or listen about him on YouTube, there's a lot of different things that I like to watch on YouTube, and I'm gonna leave some links down below of videos that I enjoy watching that really resonate with me, because I'm a different type of believer. I'm not like back in the old days, but I also know that, you know, his word is important, so I do want to make sure that I am staying grounded. But I'm real, you know. I like to get cute, I like to do my makeup, I still like to hang out with my friends, you know. I'm of the times, but I just know who God is, and I allow him to guide me and to be the center, and he'll make sure that, you know, you get everything that your heart desires. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants for us, and the only way you would get it is if you ask for it from him, and if you do what he's called you to do. But yeah, you guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. I do hope that I touched a lot of people. I hope that this video gave you everything you need. It served every purpose that you had when you clicked on it. I hope that it influenced you to learn who God is, to find God, and to trust God. But that's my testimony. Let me know some of the things that you guys have gone through and ways you grow closer to God, and maybe what has brought you closer to God as well. I would really love to hear all of your stories or your testimonies. But yeah, y'all, so that is pretty much it. Give this video a big thumbs up if it touched you in any way, or if you just really enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is going to be right here. I like to post a lot of different things. It's also a faith-based channel, so I do post about God. Yeah, y'all, that is pretty much it. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to give you guys a really big hug, because I feel like we all need one right now. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.